Hi, I'm Daria, co-founder of bbapps, a small indie app studio which create apps that cares for you and the planet. And you may remember my previous videos where I have been talking about my secret app number 5, which I will give some updates later on in this video today. But today, the main topic is my apps, not so secret apps 1, 2, and 3. I think it's common with many developers that the apps that they create are usually apps solving their own problems, and this is also my case. So each of the apps that I have created so far has been solving my particular problem. And app number 1, which is probably the most mature app so far, is a language learning app. And I've been learning Spanish for a couple of years, and I've tried many different things like tutoring, Lingota, self-learning with internet, and so on. And many of these tools work great, and I had some progress, but my biggest problem, especially because I don't live in Spain most of the time, I don't have enough speaking practice. And I'm also kind of introverted and shy when it comes to speaking foreign language with other people. I don't want to bother them with my accent and with my slow speaking and so on, which is not so slow when I speak English, even though it's also my foreign language. But English kind of spawned in my head 20 years ago and been there ever since, even though still not perfect. But yeah, that's not the case with Spanish. I started learning it as an adult, and that has been complicated. And so I created an app for practicing speaking, which is the main goal for me with Spanish and in general with languages is to speak. And the app is called NativePal. So the main idea of NativePal is that you can chat with different characters with different pols, which are supposedly native, but they're just AI bots. And you can chat about different things, about your life, just like you would with a friend. And also in the same time get feedback on your errors, on your grammar, on your pronunciation, if you're speaking, or if you're not, then on your texting, and vocabulary and all of those things. And recently we have launched version 2.0, which allows you also not to only practice like freestyle of chats, but practice particular scenarios, particular use cases, also create your own. And I think this has a great potential for people with various goals. For example, if you are trying to find a job and you want to do like job interview or like try to work in an English speaking company and English is not your native language, great way to practice. Great way for travelers to practice on specific scenarios like ordering something, going to the airport, asking for directions, things like that. And also perfect for people like me for whom language learning is just like a hobby and I can practice anything and everything. So yeah, that's NativePal. It's available both for Android and iOS. And I think I did not mention that, but all of my apps are Flutter apps because I'm a Flutter girl. Maybe someday we will discuss my background in general, but today is not the day. But yeah, all of my apps are Flutter, and also most of them are Firebase. For AI, in this app, we use GPT and Gemini, both of them for different use cases, sometimes a combination, and also some other things. Like there's a lot going on tech-wise. So if you want to learn more about the technical aspect of this particular app, let me know in the comments. I might give a talk at some point at some conference if my proposal, my CFP gets accepted. That's my app number 1. Let me show you how it works. So I think I'm not going to speak Spanish in this video. It's a bit too much out of my comfort zone. Maybe in the next one.
Hey, Peter, come on in. Mi casa, it's, I don't know Spanish.
But let's start with English. One cool thing that we have created with scenarios is that they're seasonal scenarios, and currently they are focused on autumn topics, but I think we're also going to explore other kind of hot right now topics like related to TV series, games, and things like that, which you would want to discuss in the target language. Let's do a coffee shop on a rainy day. Also, you can listen. Like if you want to practice listening, you can also listen. Oh, here's a bug.
Sarah, your barista today. It's a rainy day, perfect for a warm drink. What would you like to order? We have some special seasonal drinks you might enjoy. Would you like to hear about them? Hi, I'm Sarah, your barista today. It's a rainy day, perfect for a warm drink.
Yeah, so you can also slow it down, speed it up, depending on your level. and train your listening skills. And yeah, as I said, I noticed a bug with the name, because once we have introduced scenarios, we also introduce roles, which means that the characters don't have a name. But anyway, forget that. Yes, Sarah, I would love to hear about your seasonal drinks.
We have a delicious pumpkin spice latte and pumpkin cider. Both are perfect for dessert. Do you like chocolate? Great choice. Would you like a small, medium, or large size? Sure, we can go. Would you like a cash card?
Okay, this can go on forever, but once you're done, once you feel like you're done, you can also finish the scenario. Press this button. It will analyze your scenario. Yay, 81% out of 100. I wonder why it's that. So there's a breakdown in accuracy, fluency, vocabulary, and I can see insights. I can see all kind of things to work on and to continue. Oh, nice pronunciation. Summary is 94, almost perfect. Close. Probably I would need to speak a little bit slower. At least that's the feedback that I've been recently getting regarding my English speech. Okay, and yeah, that's NativePal. As I said, available on Android and iOS, and I'm always welcoming feedback. So let's move on to the next step. The next app I actually created a couple of years ago, and it was like on pause for a longest time for many reasons. And the idea of this app came to me again from one of my problems. To give you a little background, so every cosmetics, like everything, like from shower gel to anything you put on your face, creams, and also beauty cosmetics like mascara and lipsticks, all of these, even not only these things, but also washing powder and toothpaste, basically everything cosmetic like for house, for pets, for people, needs to be tested for safety, right? And one of the methods for testing is animal testing. And this is like a medieval kind of testing way, because there's so many new ways to test without actual animal cruelty. And cosmetics and brands that don't test on animals are usually called cruelty-free brands. But the problem is that it's not like an official term or anything like that. It's a community kind of term. And there are many steps to be considered cruelty-free or not cruelty-free, but also for different people, cruelty-free can mean a different thing. For example, a brand can be cruelty-free, which means that its ingredients are not tested on animals, the product itself is not tested on animals, and like in the process of creating, and also the finished product is not tested on animals. But it can be owned by a company, for example, like Unilever or something like that, that are not cruelty-free. So technically for some people, this is not enough, and to use the brand, they would require it to be 100% cruelty-free. So there are several factors like that. So it's all not like a binary choice, cruelty-free or not cruelty-free. And one of the ways to make this decision, to get this information, are certifications. There are official certifications. The most popular ones are Leaping Bunny and PETA. So they're international and they certify brands based on their own criteria. Leaping Bunny has the strictest standards. PETA's are not so strict, but their database is much bigger. And there are more organizations, less official, and also some bloggers that are actively talking to the brands themselves and getting this information. So it's like crowdsourced or community-based or trust-based, depending on the blogger. And the problem is that when you're shopping, for example, I remember some of the brands that, obviously the base brands that I use, I remember, but when I'm shopping for shampoo or whatever, when I'm traveling or I want to try something new and things like that, there's so many brands and I need to look them up. And previously I had to Google each brand, see if it's in this certificate or in this certificate or in this blog and so on. So the obvious solution would be to have an aggregator for those, to a place where you can put in a brand name and it will tell you if this brand is certified by any of these certifications. That's how Bunny Search was born. And the name Bunny Search comes from the bunny symbol, because all of these certifications, they have a bunny symbol that symbolizes cruelty-free. So basically you search for the bunny when you're searching for cruelty-free cosmetics. That's how the name came to be. Let me show you Bunny Search in action. So the main screen has the organizations and blogs that we have, and I don't think there is an app, at least I have not found it. I would imagine it would have cruelty-free in its title if it would exist, that has all of these certifications that we have. And this is the biggest technical mode that we have in Bunny Search, is to actually how to aggregate this information. There's a whole process, there's a whole system of merging, of updating, and so on, because each certification can have a different kind of name, like a full name or a short name for a brand, and you need to recognize it as the same brand in the database. So yeah, a whole system, even if the app itself is simple. So yeah, we have more than 10,000 brands at this point. So you can also search for a particular brand. You can search for Dove, for example. And we see that Dove is in Petadone test list and in Ethical Elephant partial cruelty-free list, which means, let's see what it means. It means that while this brand doesn't test on animals, they may be owned by an animal testing parent company, sell animal hair brushes, or don't offer vegan products. See, there's a lot of criteria to be cruelty-free, like 100% cruelty-free. And we also show parent companies, and it is Unilever. And if we search for Unilever, we will see that unfortunately Unilever is in PETA-Do test list. So for people who want 100% cruelty-free, they would not use companies that are owned by testing companies. And if you don't want to type, you can also do this. By the way, this is a RevenueCat bug, I think, because this is a RevenueCat paywall. Every time it loads from scratch, I think because I have a background image, maybe it's too big, I'll need to check. But yeah, it has a transparent background and it doesn't look nice, so I'll need to wait to fix it. So what you can do is you can scan a product, like just take a photo of the product, not the actual barcode, but just the photo of the product. Use photo. And it recognizes the brand and finds that this is the Body Shop, which is in Petadone test list, in Leaping Bunny list. Why do I can't pronounce list properly right now?
All I want is a Pepsi.
Again, in Petadone test list, in Leaping Bunny list, in Cruelty Free International Leaping Bunny list. Oh, that's a whole different story with Leaping Bunny and Cruelty Free International, and an Ethical Elephant Cruelty Free list. So yeah, cruelty free. Yeah, so and this is a huge help when shopping for me personally. That's like the biggest use case for me when I go shopping. And yeah, that's Bunny Search. And my final app, well, technically not final because I have another one, but that one was like an MVP and we're not going to continue developing it, at least not in the upcoming future. Track it, Habit Tracker, because yeah, no. Another app number 3, was actually initially a submission to the Gemini competition last year by Google. And it really helped us to, like, the deadline for the competition really helped us to actually push and publish the MVP. So that's nice. Even though we didn't really work on it that much afterwards, and even though we still get users somehow without promoting the app at all. Not a lot, but still they're coming regularly and they're staying. So yeah, Trigger Journal is the app that's going to get version 2.0 next one, because we already have Bunny Search 2.0, we have NativePal 2.0, and now it's Trigger Journal's turn. Starting with the name. Trigger Journal was a working name, but we want to rename the app because it's not really a good name at this point, because we want to pivot a little bit. But let me tell you first how the idea came to be. So there can be many situations when you have, for example, a stomachache, a headache, acne, migraines, or I don't know, anxiety, insomnia in my case. All of these kind of conditions, both physical and mental, and you can't always pinpoint why are they happening, what triggered them, what's going on. This comes from my life, from my husband's life, and basically the idea was to log when this condition happens and also log all potential triggers that happened this day. For example, for insomnia, how many exactly cups of coffee had I, what time did I wake up, maybe if I had any stressful events during the days, things like that. So basically you log all of these things, and at some point, when you log it several times, AI obviously finds the correlation and the patterns among the triggers logged and the condition logged, like what could potentially trigger the condition. So that's where the name comes from, trigger journal. But we realized that in general, those patterns can exist just in your lifestyle. It doesn't have to be only tied to some particular condition, but just maybe you want better quality of sleep, better mood, better physical feeling. Oh my god, I need NativePal to practice my English. But yeah, basically all of these kind of wellness trackers. So what we want to do is to expand trigger journal into more of a wellness journal, but also obviously with the possibility to track conditions, allergies, and more specific things, not just like generic. So yeah, it's kind of a combination of a symptom tracker and a wellness journal, and obviously with AI slapped on top of it, because it can find interesting correlations and give recommendations. But obviously, if it's AI, take all the recommendations with a grain of salt. And if it's a medical one, you definitely need to consult your doctor before attempting anything. English is my best friend. I think I did it again. So yeah, I will show you how the app looks like right now, but keep in mind that it will be refactored, because I think this is when my design skills were at its worst, and particularly the UX ones. But let me start the screen recording, and you will need to create a condition. So this is a very busy screen. This will be refactored. This will be a step-by-step kind of wizard, and because we're not going to be tied only to a condition, it will gather all kind of information from you. So let's say insomnia, my best friend. Which icon can I have? Let's say this sad icon, because I don't know if there's a sleep icon. Also, we are going to sort the icons because it's very hard to find anything in this format. Description and potential triggers. And that's where AI starts to work already. So you entered your condition and description, and it suggests triggers from the database, which can be related to your condition. So let's say bad quality sleep contribute to insomnia, obviously, emotional stress, anxiety episode, work-related stress, financial, relationship, academic, grief, physical, whatever. Just picked the first ones. You can also create your own one, but this UX with the creating your own one is so bad. I don't think anyone ever has created their own custom trigger, but I think this is because they don't understand that you can actually create your own custom trigger. Okay, and this is how your dashboard looks like. You have your condition, you have your triggers. Let's say I had anxiety episode. Let's go yesterday. And I had anxiety episode. I don't know, emotional stress. And I say I had insomnia that night. Let's say I had work-related stress, but I did not have insomnia. I don't know if AI will find anything at this point. But let's see. Obviously not enough logs, but I just want to see how in general it works and what it shows. I haven't used this app forever because yeah, in this format it's not exactly usable, just as an MVP. Okay, possible link between emotional and mental state and insomnia on 5th of September. And then see, when I logged work-related stress, it doesn't seem to be the primary trigger because insomnia was not triggered on that day. So yeah, and obviously unlock detailed and up-to-date AI insight based on your logs when you purchase a subscription, because all of my apps so far are subscription-based. I am thinking of offering in-app purchases, but yeah, that's a question for another day. Maybe in general monetization we will discuss in a separate video. About app number 5, a quick update. It's still in progress. It's still in the works. There are technical limitations. I still can't believe that I came up with an idea, which is a very simple idea. In general, the idea is very simple, but the actual implementation is technically challenging, and that is super exciting, but also a bit frustrating, and I will keep you posted in a separate video. By the way, if you have better ideas for a name for Trigger Journal, let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, what am I supposed to say? But all of these things. And yeah, see you in the next video.